Good morning, and we are live. Thank you for being here, folks. I just running about a minute late. I do apologize for that. I have been working with our network, trying to make sure that it's running as fast as I can possibly get it. It's a little challenge today. So forgive me if things pixelate out a little bit. A live stream takes an exceptional amount of resources, and this is the way we like to do it. We like to do it live. So here we are. Did everything, wrapped tinfoil around my pecker and everything I could to try to make it happen, and it's happening. Glad to be with you, folks. Glad to be with you. I was just checking to see if y'all were paying attention. Let me introduce you to Miss Dena Jean Bell. We're going to start a little local here in Texas. She's from Princeton, just right up the way, just a little bit of ways up the road from me. Not right over yonder, but just up the way a bit. This is Dena Jean Bell, and this is old photo of her from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when she was arrested, because Dena Jean Bell is subscribing to the much proven theory that put forward by the legendary Rick Wilson, that everything Trump touches dies. She thought it'd be a good idea to go up to the Capitol on January 6th and raise a ruckus and just go ahead and steal an election. She's an insurrectionist. She was actually one of the worst. She was at it. She was there from beginning to end. She was violent, attacked police officers, and had her trial and just had her sentencing. And at 65 years of age, she was 62 when she did all that. At 65 years of age, Dena Jean Bell is going to prison for 17 months. During her sentencing, and 3 years of supervised release after that. But yeah, I saw that headline, and I just wanted to share it with you because, and I realize, it's local, it's Texas, it had a little bit to do with Trump, but just let that sink in. At 65 years of age, she's going to prison for Trump. For Trump. For God's sake. I mean, wake the hell up and smell the bullshit, people. I mean, come on. I mean, let that sink in for a second. 65 years old, going to prison. Oh, as a Trump supporter. Oh, that's not going to be a good time. So we're going to recap the week. Let's move on. I don't know if that affects you as much as it caught me when I started taking a look at it. I just glossed over it. Oh, it's just another Trumper. Then I started reading the details of it and realized that she is 65 years old. That kind of stuck with me a little bit. I just could not imagine. I'm younger than that, but I could not imagine. Jeannie Parker says she is the F in find out stage of supporting him. Yeah. She in the F and find out stage. That's right. But yeah, let's do a recap of the week. Let's talk about what's happened this week. It's Friday. We made it to another weekend, folks. Can you believe that? I tell you what, man. It has been a good week, too. It has been not for everybody. For Trump, his week's been pretty rough. This is making the rounds this week, and I absolutely love it. This is a former Republican. This was during the Univision town hall that Trump attended. He hasn't been doing much. Trump's canceled 60 Minutes. He canceled an ABC interview. He canceled a CNN interview. Canceled a rally he was supposed to do with the NRA in a friendly town. It was in South Carolina, or was it Georgia? It slips my mind. But he was doing an NRA rally. He canceled that. He's just been hiding under a rug. But he did do this last week. And it didn't turn out that well. That response is the best thing that could have possibly happened. I almost want to say thank you, Donald Trump, for just telling the truth for once. First of all, he called the insurrectionists we. And this whole Day of Love thing, you've seen it. I've seen it. Everybody's seen it. We saw the speech he gave ahead of time. He didn't say, go peacefully down to the Capitol. He said, go fight like hell and I'll be down there with you. That's what he told them to do. And they did. Like dumbasses. Just like Dena Jean Bell. And he said, we. He is with the insurrectionists. He is 100% doubling down. And I have to tell you, that was hugely consequential. It really was, because they're doing interviews with people all over. A really good one came out of Georgia. CNN tried to do that whole, we're going to go find some just everyday people. And then they go to a diner and seek out Trump supporters. Didn't go so well for them. They went and found two old guys that were there. They thought, for sure, two old Georgia dudes. These guys are definitely rural Georgia dudes. These are definitely Trump people. And both of them were like, no, we're voting for Harris. we're voting for Harris. Why? January 6th. I mean, they didn't even miss a beat. Boom. January 6th. I believe in the Constitution. I may not agree with Kamala Harris and some of her policies, but I believe in the Constitution, and Donald Trump doesn't. One guy even, it was really fantastic. One guy even said, have you seen Donald Trump? And the reporter's like, oh, yes, we cover him often. Says, were his lips moving? And she goes, oh, yeah. Then he was lying. I was like, oh, man, yeah, that's my people. That's my rural old boys waking up. I love it, man. I love it. It's been a really bad week for Trump. It has. His surrogates have gone out. See if you can notice the difference in the tone. This is Adolfo Franco. You may not know this guy unless you're really into politics. He does a lot of CNN Espanol. He is a Cuban-American Republican, and I've mentioned that before, that for some reason the Cubans came here and fell in love with the Republican Party. I think it's still pissed off at Kennedy is the roots of it, but since then they've just stayed a very large Republican bloc. And Franco is one of them. He is a political consultant, and he is a Trump surrogate that goes out to these shows, especially, like I said, the Spanish language shows. But he sat down with Mehdi Hassan. And while Mehdi Hassan and I may disagree on a few things, Mehdi Hassan is brilliant. And I would not want to get into a verbal knife fight with Mehdi Hassan. Mehdi Hassan, and keep in mind going into this, when I show you this clip, Think about all the stuff Mehdi Hassan still left on the floor. He doesn't even hit him with a fraction of it. But this is really good, folks.
Adolfo, you're a smart man. I don't understand how you can support a candidate who thinks wind turbines cause cancer, thinks you can stop a hurricane with a nuclear weapon, thinks you need ID to buy a box of cereal, thinks you can buy Greenland from Denmark, thinks England and the UK are the same thing, thinks you can beat COVID by putting disinfectant in your arms, thinks a stealth fighter jet is literally invisible, and talks about toilet flush water pressure in every one of his rallies. He's nuts. He should be president, but don't take anything he says seriously.
I never said he didn't say anything seriously. I said that he speaks in a way that's not scripted, and he speaks in a way jokingly sometimes. Or
was he joking when he said shoot people in the leg?
Or he might have said it out of frustration. But
you know American politics better than me. Can you tell me when a vice president has refused to endorse the president?
Well, that has not happened.
It happened this time, hasn't it? Your own vice president refuses to endorse you. Your national security advisor says you're unfit to be president. Your defense secretary says you're unfit for the presidency.
All dismissed employees, and unlike the current
his
president,
former White House chief of staff, John Kelly, called him an idiot.
Well,
his national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, called him a dope. His economic advisor, Gary Cohn, said he's dumb as shit. These are the people who worked closely with him.
And all
right, that's enough. Damn, Mehdi, he's dead, man. Get off him. Get off him. He's dead. Oh, my God. Franco was not expecting that. I'm telling you, and his surrogates have just been given hell this week. And that, by the way, that's head to head. Mehdi Hassan, you know, like I said, I don't agree with a lot of what some of what Mehdi Hassan says. I don't. I'm not going to get into it. But anyways, he does do a good show, and that's from his show. He's moved to Al Jazeera, which you can find online. You can find Al Jazeera online. His show's called Head to Head. It is a good show. It is a good show, folks. I will tell you, he is a gifted man. But yeah, good Lord, get off him, man. He's dead already. I mean, Jesus. Woo. I tell you what, I would not want to get in a verbal knife fight with Mehdi Hassan. Yeah, exactly, Dave. I love it, man. Fatality. There you go, brother. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There it is. Fatality. But that wasn't the end of it. You got Abel Maldonado. For folks, again, if you're not really into politics, he's just one of those talking heads you may recognize that pops up every once in a while. You may not know his background. You kind of go about him in politics. He's a former lieutenant. All our California people know who he is. He's a former lieutenant governor out in California. Tried to make his way into the first Trump administration. Didn't get it done. He's been out working as a surrogate. You know, that's how you get into the Trump administration. You suck up. You suck up. And old Abel Maldonado goes out, and he usually gets treated with quite a bit of deference. He was lieutenant governor under Schwarzenegger in California. But no, again, people are not doing it. Normally, they let, you've seen it happen. All the free airtime the Trump campaign gets, their surrogates come out, they treat them with kid gloves, they let them say the craziest shit unchallenged. Yes, the wind has shifted directions. You tell me, folks, you are some of the smartest people I know. You tell me what the hell has happened? Because, I mean, this has been, I can't play you an hour's worth of clips here. I mean, I'm going to only play you a couple, but this is pretty standard for what's happened in the corporate media and stuff this week. It's been really different.
And you know who he was. You know who he is. That's who he is. Trump is not going to change ever.
Is he a fascist?
I mean, no, he's not a fascist, Carl. He's not.
Does he say fascistic things?
I mean,
does he say fascistic?
He's a New Yorker. He's a fighter. He's a leader.
New Yorkers who fight don't usually invoke fascism. Does he say fascistic things day after day.
I don't see
I asked you.
Carl, I don't see that.
But also,
But
by the way,
but-
you're from California. The Central Park, the kids in the Central Park Five, they were actually New Yorkers. So the idea that Donald Trump is a New Yorker and this is what New Yorkers say is
Well, I
just
mean,
bullshit.
I'm from California, and I mean, we look at New York as, you know, they're fighters, they're strong, they tell it like it is, they'll say it out loud, they're very.
But that's a comic book. I mean, again, we're just like there's 8 million people in the city, and so the idea, anyway.
Listen, but
And you know who he was. You know who he is. That's who he is. Trump is not going to change ever.
Is he a fascist?
I mean, no, he's not a fascist, Carl. He's
Does
not.
he say fascistic things?
Y'all know that is not the way he normally handles himself. I mean, he's a New Yorker. His mother was Gloria Vanderbilt, for Christ's sake. I mean, you just, whoo, you do not normally see him saying that's bullshit. I mean, loved it. Oh my God! But yeah, Trump's been running. He has, I mean, been canceling. We're up to 3 interviews he's canceled. After the press, oh, Kamala's not doing interviews when we're watching her do interviews. We're not doing interviews. Trump's literally canceling interviews, canceled a rally with the NRA. But he shows up at the Al Smith dinner. And I got to tell you, they were a little bit butthurt because Kamala Harris didn't. But you know what? When you've got Cardinal Dolan there and people that actively engage in politics within the Catholic Church, if you don't know, the Al Smith dinner is a tradition. It's one of those roast dinners where they bring in a comedian. It's hosted by the Catholic Church. It is a tradition. People show up, just have shown up always to that. Well, this year, Kamala Harris said, no, I'm not going. I would rather go be with the people. I would rather keep doing the work. Yeah, no kidding. Cat Bacon says Kamala Harris should take all of Trump's canceled interviews. She has been working, man. She has been out there working. Instead of going to the Al Smith dinner, she held a rally, and it was just, I got some clips for that for you. But yeah, Trump goes, and I just kind of want you to, well, here, we'll talk about it on the other side. I got a couple of clips for you here. It didn't go well. But the right wingers think it did for some reason.
In any event, it's a weird. You know the word weird. They call me weird. They call JD weird. We're very solid people.
You can tell the ones that have stuck because he can't get over them. And again, you've got the professional laughers. You hear him, crazy Teddy. Y'all go watch that movie Legend. Y'all, so you know what I'm talking about, Crazy Teddy. But yeah, I want you to listen to this comment. And then I'm going to play some Kamala Harris after that. But I just want you to listen to how presidential this statement is. And again, the right wingers, this has gone viral. They think this is a win. It shows you how their minds work. They think this is a good thing.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
So presidential. I mean, so presidential. And yes, that's Chuck Schumer. It's the Al Smith dinner is a tradition. Both sides show up to it usually. But no, Kamala Harris did not. She just said, no, we're not doing it this year. You people jump in to politics. You people, have been pushing this insane abortion agenda. You cross the line all the time. So no, I'm not going to go break bread with you. And kudos to her for standing her ground. I have been screaming about that she's been way too friendly with Republicans because I am a hyper-partisan Democrat, and it just makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. But yeah, kudos to her for standing up and not doing it. I was very proud of her for doing that. Peter Campbell says, need help from the class. Is it ironic that the Archdiocese of LA and New York have paid out over $1 billion to abuse victims, and yet Trump is welcome at their fundraiser? Yeah. That is the ick factor. That is why Kamala Harris went and did a rally in a swing state in Wisconsin instead of sat there with those creeps. And she was brilliant to do it. She really was. But here's a little bit more of Trump and how his week's going. Operation Let the Dumbass Talk. These are the kinds of things that are falling out there like a lead balloon that his people are just trying to get him to not do interviews anymore because he keeps telling everybody what he wants to do. And I want you to see if you can catch this. You guys are so great. I love to play this game with you because you folks are so smart. I love to challenge you. See if you can catch what he says here.
It's anything to do with school choice, also. But also separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
Central Cast.
here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land, and that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
It's anything to do with school choice, also. But also separate from school choice.
Okay. Did you catch that? So he goes on Fox and Friends. He's canceling all his interviews, but he'll go on Fox and Friends. You know, he'll do that morning crap with them. But did you hear what he said there? You know, they said teaching about slavery and how this country was built on stolen land. Well, that's just kind of history, folks. I mean, you know, you don't have to like it. We don't have to think it's a good thing, but it is our history. It's kind of like me in Texas. Everybody's like, remember the Alamo. And I'm like, yeah, please do remember the Alamo, because that fight was about slavery, and the slavers were inside the Alamo, and the people that were against human trafficking and slavery were the ones on the outside of the Alamo. So let's remember it and remember it correctly. But Paul, you're from Texas. Aren't you a proud Texan? Of course I am. But that doesn't mean I need to whitewash my history. No. He just said, I'll play it for you one more time. I mean, see if you can hear what he says here. Not just closing the Department of Education. That's a normal trope for them. Listen to what he says he's going to do to schools that teach about slavery.
It's anything to do with school choice, also. But also separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
Central Cast.
here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land, and that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for the support, Christine. I really appreciate you. Let me do this full time. Yeah. I mean, you know, last week it was, we're not going to send disaster relief money unless people go do the crazy shit I tell them to do, like, I don't know, rake your forests. We're just not going to send you disaster relief money, which really means we're not going to send it to Democrats. That's what he's saying. And then now he's saying, you're going to teach about slavery? You're going to teach our actual history? Well, that's going to piss off the bigots. We're not going to send your schools any federal money. And he's saying it out loud, folks. I'm not putting words in his mouth. It's Operation Let the Dumbass Talk. And he's talking. He's talking. So yeah, I understand somebody's complaining. I saw your comment about the audio. I don't control that. I don't. That is the feed from the original, and there's no volume button on that. So you just got to crank up your volume, put it up next to your ear if they get a little bit low. Some of them are louder than others. Sharon Reddy says, if you don't know the past, you can't know how far we've come. Exactly. Past is prologue, folks. You cannot lead if you don't know your past, because you don't know what the hell to do in the future, and you can't recognize what's happening. Things happen over and over again. Things happen over and over again. Jackie B said they gave him a towel to sit on. Not White Couch. No kidding, right? Nasty. Everybody's talking about when he pooped all over himself, got caught on the mic. It was gross. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to play that. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you just got to go. You're accomplished people. You can go look it up. But yeah, I want to sum up the Trump stuff. I'm done with Trump. I don't like to hear his voice. I don't like to see his face. So I'm done with it. But Anand Giridharadas was doing an interview. You'll recognize him if you don't recognize the name, and he's brilliant. He is utterly brilliant. He is a columnist. He is an author. He worked for a global management consulting company. Anand is just brilliant. He really is. You'll recognize the face when you see him. He's got that iconic hair. But he really has summed up Trump and J.D. Vance in a perfect clip. And I do apologize. This is 3 minutes long, and I'm sorry for playing such a long clip. But it was so brilliantly done that I just had to, hat tip, respect, show it, elevate it. This is the truth, folks. This is the truth. Thanks, Rosalina Anderson. I appreciate the support. Thank you. But yeah, this is an end.
I think if you think about some of the great presidents we've had in this country, obviously they were interested in winning and losing, but it wasn't necessarily the sum total of their being or understanding of the world. They were interested in policy. They were interested in the country. They had a certain feeling for history. I think Donald Trump is someone so small, so limited in a way that winning and losing is really the only thing he understands. There's this kind of thing that his father supposedly said to him. There's two kinds of people in the world, killers and losers, killer being a good thing in this moral landscape. And so you can imagine the 2020 loss was a trauma for Donald Trump, because it's the only kind of meaning he has is to have ratings higher than the other person. And his ratings were lower, the ultimate rating in this country, which is voters. And then J.D. Vance, I actually met J.D. Vance the first time here. We were both on the same day. This is 2016. I thought he was charming, kind, interesting. We have a different worldview, but we spoke, messaged a little bit after that. And he became what I think the founders a couple hundred years ago used to call men of ambition. Ambition didn't used to be a good word the way it is now. It used to mean people who have such a design on power that there's nothing they won't say, do, become to have power. This is a person who is now willing to throw out constitutional democracy. He studied at Yale Law School, where I believe they actually have courses on the Constitution. He's willing to throw out everything he took time to study.
I hate to pause this, interrupt it, but the point he's making here about J.D. Vance, spot on, and kudos to him, nails it perfectly. This is what I've been talking about. J.D. Vance does not believe the shit that he is saying. He doesn't. But he'll do it anyways. He will do it anyways. He will certify a fraudulent election. He will interfere with elections. He will do anything. Because here, I'll let Anand sum it up.
To be that kind of man of dark ambition. And I think what's really important now is for people across this country who may not be diehard for Kamala Harris or diehard for Donald Trump, but who love the country, who have been blessed by the many gifts of this country, to say, this country is what it is. It has given you whatever it's given you because of institutions you take for granted, processes of a peaceful transfer of power that you take for granted. So you can go live your life. You can go start that restaurant. You can go do that job. You can go drive your kid to that college. You can do all those things in a way you cannot in Somalia, because the institutions are just working in the background. You don't even have to think about them very often. You have to vote every so often, and then they work. And what is at stake now is you possibly not being able to do all those things you've done all your life, not be able to chase your dreams, not be able to make your plans, because what works in the background is not going to be working in the background in a Trump administration. Politics, government, persecution would become your life. This would become the full drama of our country. That's what happens in these countries that go in that illiberal, unconstitutional direction. And what they are proposing is not just, an abstraction of fascism. It is a kind of political project where politics would eat your dreams, eat your plans. And I don't think most Americans want that.
Very well said, sir. Incredibly eloquent, makes the point perfectly, exactly. Vance is a shape-shifting chameleon. He has dark ambitions, as to steal you, the way you folks have summed it up. He has dark ambitions. He's willing to do or say anything for that power, and he would be one heartbeat away, one very weak, frail heartbeat away from the presidency. He is a dangerous man. Jeff Schuler here says Vance is looking to invoke the 25th and be Tech Bros puppet. Yeah, I'm telling you, Peter Thiel has bought and paid for JD Vance. He has. He has made his entire career, and JD Vance will do anything. Peter Thiel is another one of those damned immigrants. One of the bad immigrants, like Rupert Murdoch and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel comes from Germany. And yeah, they're trying to undercut our democracy. And JD Vance is bought and paid for by Peter Thiel. And it's disgusting. And he's a chameleon. He is. And I know that's serious, and I know that's not as fun to talk about, but we need to talk about it. And people like Anand, he just priceless. He is a priceless gift, and he is the reason that I just rail about immigration. One second. Shadowette 1950 here says, what happens if Trump had to step down before the election because of illness? Does Vance run for president? No. He could die, and he will still be the top name on the ticket. But again, it would be new constitutional territory. We would have to fight our way through it. The point is, he's not going to be president. If you people keep your feet on the gas, the way things are going, have you been watching the numbers coming in from the early voting? The way things are going, I was just looking at a Trump plus 37 district in Georgia. A Trump plus 37 district. Early voting, he's coming in Trump plus 10. Folks, that was a rural district. Imagine what's going to happen when the cities come in. I'm telling you, if you just keep your foot on the gas, we're going to do this. If you show up and vote, we're going to do this. 21st here in Texas also, Rich. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate you. Early voting starts Monday, October 21st in Alaska. It also starts the 21st here in Texas. I will be voting. That's Monday. I will be voting Monday. Here's a little different take. And again, Anand Giridharadas, he is the reason I love immigration. He himself was born here, the son of immigrants. People that came here, lived the American dreams, worked hard. His dad is a much beloved professor at George Washington University. His mother is an art teacher. They came here, they lived the American dream. Their son is a tremendous success and a jewel and a gift to our country. This is why I rail about immigration. It gives us the world to pull from. And I will never not be that way. I will never not be that way. E.T. says, sorry I'm late. I'll catch up in a bit. But until then, get out there and vote. Thank you, E.T. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Here's a little different take, and I think you're really going to enjoy this. This is from my man, Dave Bautista.
Fellas, we got to talk. A lot of men seem to think that Donald Trump is some kind of tough guy. He's not. I mean, look at him. He wears more makeup than Dolly Parton. He whines like a baby. The guy's afraid of birds. Donald Trump had his daddy pay a doctor to say his little feet hurt so he could dodge the draft. Look at that gut. Like a garbage bag full of buttermilk. He sells imaginary baseball cards pretending to be a cowboy fireman. The guy's barely strong enough to hold an umbrella. I mean, look how he drinks water. Like a little pink chickadee. He's got jugs, big ones, like Dolly Parton. He cheats at golf. He creeps around beauty pageant dressing rooms. You know that little dance he does? He looks like he's jacking off a pair of giraffes. He's moody, he pouts, he throws tantrums.
No, get those lights off!
He acts like a 5-year-old behind the wheel of a truck. He bends over for Putin. He's cattier on social media than a middle school mean girl. The guy needs help walking downhill. Almost there, Grandma. And this November, let's stop kidding ourselves. Donald Trump is afraid of rain, of dogs, of windmills, Merle Street, and being laughed at.
Isn't it past your jail time?
And mostly, he's terrified that real red-blooded American men will find out that he's a weak, tubby toddler.
Mommy, take me home. Mommy, I want to go home.
What's wrong, tough guy? Does someone grab you by the Boy, you bitch.
Guys, you can still see the room.
Oh my God. I think every election cycle we go back and we analyze the ads and say, what is the best ad? I think we just saw the best ad of the entire cycle. Oh my God. Dave Bautista is a national treasure. This is the man show era at Kimball. A great comment, my friend. I appreciate the support, Devlin Dallas. I do. I appreciate it. I know you hear every show, and I do appreciate that support. I really do. Oh my God, that was I flipped past that ad a few times. I love Dave Bautista. I really do. But I kind of just flipped past it a few times, and because I was following news, and I was like, everybody's like, oh, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. Finally clicked on it last night and watched it, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I was like, it felt like that Mehdi Hassan interview. Get off him, man. He's dead already. Oh my God, that was so good. That was so good. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted it as a little segue. We've talked about Donald Trump's week. Let's talk about Kamala Harris's week. Started with a Fox News interview, and it did not go the way they'd hoped. They really hoped. Listen to what Brett Baird does here. You can tell he is really trying to get Kamala Harris in a gotcha. He's really trying to create a deplorables moment. You remember when they stuck that mic in Hillary Clinton's face and asked her about Trump supporters? And she said, tried to come up with the kindest thing she could come up with and say that called them a basket of deplorables. They were trying to recreate. Uh-oh. You still with me? We lost power for a second. That good old Texas infrastructure. Oh, yeah, baby. Hold on. Yeah. All right. Good old Texas infrastructure. Whoo. Sorry about that. We're still here. Yeah. Got battery backups, baby. I don't waste your money. When you support the show, I pay for battery backups. Apparently, I need to buy one more. But yeah, thank you for the support, folks. You're the people that keep us on the air. But yeah, Brett Baer really thought he was going to create that gotcha. I want you to watch this.
If he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States. Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What
oh
is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today.
I want to pause it right here. They tried to sane wash Donald Trump, and she does not let them get away with it. God bless her. She is so gifted. She is so smart. She just nails him for what he tries to pull here. And it's just fantastic.
Today, Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
he was asked about that
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to
that
you.
was the question that we asked him.
He didn't show that.
Get him.
Here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the president of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask.
Yeah. And Peter Campbell, thank you for making this comment, because that's y'all are always ahead of me. You always are. You are speaking to the Vice President of the United States of America. Do not interrupt. Shut the up. Thank you, Peter, for saying that. The tone of this interview was so wrong. They lost voters. They lost voters. There, you can go if you follow this stuff as closely as I do on social media, and you get into the right-wing stuff, which I don't recommend it because it's kind of icky and gross. There were a lot of people that were posting, and you had to go back and you had to look, make sure, oh, well, this isn't just some Democrat saying this, this isn't just a gimmick. No, you go back and look at their feeds. These are legitimate Some of them were MAGA. I found about 4 different people. This exchange right there actually turned Trump voters. I mean, she just nailed it. Just nailed it. I mean, you had people that were like, look, you know, I'm sorry, that was disrespectful. The way he talked to her, the way he acted, and she was so professional and so strong, and she made her point. And there were literally people that were like, look, I'm a Republican, but no, I'm not doing this. I'm voting for her. I am voting for her. And I just tell you, this election feels so different. And Kamala Harris has really just, I mean, she's just bloomed, blossomed, grown into this amazing candidate. That the way she's just handling this stuff, and she's just had an incredible week. I mean, it was so rough that Brett Baer actually had to go back and try to do a CYA. Where are you? My Brett Baer clip. I'll find it for you later. But yeah, he went back and he actually did a clip where he showed another clip and said, oh, I meant to show this other clip. I didn't mean to show the sane washed clip. I meant to show another clip where Trump actually said it. It was just a mistake. We didn't mean for that clip to come. Oh, bull. You got caught. You got busted. You got called out. And everybody is absolutely loving it. That you got freaking owned trying to pull that crap, and she owned you for it. And I love that. The next day they went into damage control, and he literally sat on another Fox show and tried to sell it as, well, we pulled up the wrong clip. My bad. No, you didn't. You tried to say and watch it. And she left that interview, I swear to God, with a newfound confidence. I mean, she's been confident already. She's been eloquent already, but it's like she's just having fun. It's like when you're watching a football game and your team goes up like, 3-4 touchdowns. You could see them playing. They're laughing, having a good time on the sidelines, and they're just enjoying playing the game now. See if you could just see that, or if it's just me. But yeah, this is Kamala Harris in her Wisconsin rally yesterday.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Oh my God. Oh my God. She is having such. I'm sorry. I threw that at you, Cole. I should have set that up. There were a couple Trump hecklers there that started running their mouths and screaming, and she just took them to the woodshed, man. And you can see it. She is just having such a good time with it, man. I mean, it was like, damn. Oh, no, she didn't. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And she just went on to have a great speech. And you can just see it. She's really enjoying it, man. She's really enjoying it.
Couples just trying to grow their family are being cut off in the middle of IVF treatments. They did not want this. And now, I mean, it just gets more unbelievable.
Okay, I want to start this over because I didn't set this one up. She had just played a clip of Donald Trump in his own words, Operation Let the Dumbass Talk, where he calls himself the father of IVF, saying that he's the defender of IVF when he's the reason all of this is in danger.
Couples just trying to grow their family are being cut off in the middle of IVF treatments. They did not want this. And now, I mean, it just gets more unbelievable sometimes. And now the man calls himself the father of IVF.
mean, what does that even mean? And all of that, while he is the one who, by the way, is responsible for it being at risk in the first place. And what is sadly interesting, I think, is that when you listen to Donald Trump talk, it becomes increasingly clear, I think, he has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to the health care of women in America.
Loving it. Loving it. Oh my God, she is killing, and the polls are reflecting it. The polls are really reflecting it. They are. Thanks for the support, Gail. I really appreciate it. Without you folks, I can't do this for a living. So I appreciate you. But yeah, she really had a damn good rally, a really good rally. Instead of going to that stupid ass Al Smith dinner, this is what she did. It did get a little bit serious, though. I mean, she's touching on some serious subjects, but we'll give you one more clip from her and just sum up how her week's been going.
He said he will target and punish those who disagree with him or refuse to bend to his will. He calls these Americans the enemy within.
And we just saw that out of his mouth himself. You just heard him say it. You teach that slavery or you teach something I don't like, we're going to cut off your funding. You're not going to get money for your schools.
And says that he would use the American military to go after American citizens. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like. Nonpartisan election officials who refuse to cheat by finding a few extra votes for him. Judges who insist on following the law instead of following him. It is for reasons like these that General Mark Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Donald Trump's top general, has called Trump, and I quote, fascist to the core. And it is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged and will stop at nothing to claim unchecked power for himself. He wants to send the military after American citizens. He wants to prevent women from making decisions about their own body. He wants to threaten fundamental freedoms and rights like the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, to breathe clean air and drink clean water, and the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride.
Yeah, killed it. I just nailed it. Nailed it. There just couldn't be a bigger difference. I mean, listen to Trump, listen to the way he talks, the way he berates American citizens, the way he talks about white dudes for Harris. You know, how many people do you think he won over with that comment? Or was it just stupid little frat boys like Elon Musk out there that got off on that? You know, he's not really running a campaign anymore. It's a grift. It's a grift. And if you folks stay on it, we're going to win this thing. If you vote, I don't mean just come here and meet with us. And I don't mean just watch on social media. I don't mean just talk to your friends about it. I mean, if you do the one thing that counts more than anything and get out there and vote, we got this. We do. We're going to be okay. We got this. And I'm loving these stories. I am loving these stories. Moose, Already got it done. Already got it done, my friend. Thank you. I really appreciate it. What state did you vote in, if you don't mind me asking? Thomas, if y'all could put what state you're voting in, also put those comments back out there. If you've already voted and what state you're in, if you could put that out there, I would be very grateful. I would be very grateful. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. Oh, just hitting so good today. Hitting so good today. Thank y'all. Y'all are so generous. Y'all really are. It just blows my mind. So again, somebody just sent me a thing of Kitty Town. Peg sent me a couple bags of Pete's, big old bags of Pete's. I mean, that stuff ain't cheap, man. It just always floors me when y'all do stuff like that. But yeah, let's add a little touch of Brother Tim to the mix. I mean, you just, I don't know about you, but I really enjoy watching Tim Walz speak. I really am. I don't know how I slept on Tim Walz. Folks, you'll get people that are arrogant, that'll try to say, "Oh, I've always been a Tim Walz guy," and this, and I honestly, I didn't follow Tim Walz. I didn't. I am so glad she chose him. I am so glad she chose him as a running mate. I am. I just really enjoy watching the guy talk. Gail Brownell says she should pitch Rogan to host a debate. No, Joe Rogan is not an honest broker. And I really hope she doesn't go on his show. I really hope she doesn't. He is not an honest broker. He's a whore. He is. He's a whore. You don't want him hosting the debate. I respectfully disagree with you there. But yeah, this is Brother Tim. I'm telling you, they're out there working, man. They're working. They're getting it done. They are getting it done.
I'm going to be generous. We are all products of our past. When you grow up a middle-class kid in Oakland or in Butte, Nebraska, you care about Social Security. You care about these things. When you're sitting down in Mar-a-Lago and you tell your rich friends, you're rich as hell, I'm gonna give you a tax cut, it doesn't matter to them. And you know what? When my mom looks for that Social Security deposit to be made in her bank account, that's how she's gonna feed herself. That's how she's gonna get things done. He doesn't give a damn if his Social Security check comes or not. So let's be very clear. If any of our relatives or anyone gives us this, if they tell us, well, Donald Trump's understand us, that's bullshit. He does not understand. He does not understand. Look, you know it. I'm all right for the little ones here. I'm a teacher. I'm sorry about that. I carried away. So,
yeah, preach it, Brother Tim. Preach it. I'm telling you, now, Hawk, you are dead right, man. I appreciate I support and I do appreciate the comment. It does. It feels like we're just building momentum and building momentum and building momentum. And I want to tell you something, folks. I hate to talk about stuff like this because I'm always afraid of complacency. I'm always afraid of complacency. Mr. Knudsen in the house. Thank you for the support, my man. Even Republicans would love to have Tim as a neighbor. Yeah, no kidding, right? That's the guy that mow your yard when you went on vacation. He's just a good guy. You can tell. You can tell about people. Like J.D. Vance, you can tell you can't trust. Shifty, you can't trust him. I wouldn't want my kids around J.D. Vance. I wouldn't. But Tim Walz, yeah, you just have a feeling about people. Love the guy, solid and genuine, a guy that will help push your car if it has a flat tire or better. Yeah. Or exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's what the week's been like, folks. I mean, that's what the week has been like. It's been a good week. And again, because I fear complacency, I hate to talk about stuff like this. I do. But yeah, early voting numbers look amazing. Amazing. I'm voting early so that on election day, I'm going to go around to the local church down here and I'm going to volunteer to drive people to the polls. That's what I'm going to do on election day. I'm going to try to get some people to the polls, man. So I'm voting early to free myself up. Folks, you got to vote. You got to vote. You have got to vote because this world has serious things going on in it. And this is the difference. This is, again, 10 pounds. Teresa, thank you. Part of our European audience. Thank you. I appreciate you, Teresa, very much. 10 pounds is a lot of scratch. Look, this is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is out there. I hope you don't have investments in crypto because he is absolutely showing the Achilles heel of crypto and the problem with crypto. It's not backed by a government. It's highly unregulated. And in Donald Trump's case, it just appears to be just a straight up another grift, another scam. You know, he's partnered to start selling crypto. He's been selling NFTs. He's been selling, he gets 75% of the revenues off of every bit of crypto that they sell. I mean, this stuff's not valued on anything. It's just a grift. It's just a grift. You know, I get so many people that are like, oh man, you got to get into that crypto. No, I do not. No, I do not. I'll buy bonds before I buy crypto. I will. I just, no. I mean, it's literally not regulated by a bank and it's kept on somebody's server. And I just, no. And he's just showing people just how risky it is. Yeah, I could literally see this tanking the crypto market. I really could. But compare that. This is Kamala Harris. And we've had a bit of news out of Gaza. If you haven't heard, the head of Hamas is dead. Yahya Sinwar. Some IDF soldiers were in Rafah down in southern Gaza. And they saw a group of soldiers going house to house to house, checking houses, moving on. And they were suspicious. They didn't look like, it didn't look like normal soldiers, the way Hamas soldiers act. They typically move quick, get to a position where they can hide, have cover. They don't typically act like you would expect the IDF or an American soldier or, a British soldier or, anybody's military to normally act, which would be to clear houses as they go. So they knew something was up. And they were after, they're at war with each other. So they opened fire on these guys. And they broke up into two groups. One group ran inside a building, and they called in an artillery strike. They're using tanks for artillery, and the tank company threw a shell into the building where these people were hiding. Then they launched a drone, went in. The drone went in, and there's actual footage of this. I'm not going to play it for you because it's a little bit too much. It'll get the video flagged, and you can see. The drone comes into the building, flies into the second floor window and flies up, and you can see a man sitting in a chair on the far side, and the drone goes up and approaches him, takes a look at him, and his arm is severed. And he's sitting there. He's wearing a mask at the time. He has a keffiyeh wrapped around his face. And he throws something at the drone. But it turns out that, that was Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas. So they backed the drone out and they called in a second strike. They didn't recognize who it was at the time. That was Thursday. They didn't know why they was just a terrorist. They just knew it was a terror. So they called in a second strike and decimated the building. They waited to the next day because they didn't know if they had the area cleared. They didn't know if there were more fighters in there. So they waited. And the next morning, They brought in some more troops and they cleared the building and they found Yahya Sinwar in the rubble, dead as a doornail. The head of Hamas is gone. No one cut his arm off. It was severed in the blast. It was severed in the blast. But yeah, that video is out there. If you want to see the drone footage, the IDF put it out because Hamas's first reaction was to lie and say, you didn't know, he's not dead. You didn't kill him. And they said, okay, here you go. Take a look. You can watch it happen. It's a pretty harsh video. You can see it happen. But yeah, he's dead as a doornail. This is the response from Kamala Harris.
Today, Israel confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is dead, and justice has been served. And the United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result. Sinwar was responsible for the killing of thousands of innocent people, including the victims of October 7 and hostages killed in Gaza. He had American blood on his hands. Today, I can only hope that the families of the victims of Hamas feel a sense and measure of relief. Sinwar was the mastermind of October 7, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. A terrorist attack that killed 1,200 innocent people and included horrific sexual violence and more than 250 hostages taken into Gaza, including 7 Americans, living and deceased, who remain in captivity. A terrorist attack that triggered a devastating war in Gaza, a war that has led to unconscionable suffering of many innocent Palestinians and greater instability throughout the Middle East. In the past year, American special operations and intelligence personnel have worked closely with their Israeli counterparts to locate and track Sinwar and other Hamas leaders. And I commend their work. And I will say, to any terrorist who kills Americans, threatens the American people, or threatens our troops or our interests, know this: we will always bring you to justice. Israel has a right to defend itself, and the threat Hamas poses to Israel must be eliminated. Today, there is clear progress toward that goal. Hamas is decimated, and its leadership is eliminated. This moment gives us an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza. And it must end such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination. And it is time for the day after to begin without Hamas in power. We will not give up on these goals, and I will always work to create a future of peace, dignity, and security for all.
Now that's presidential. That is presidential. Kudos to her. Kudos to her. Time to end this war. Yeah. Kudos to her. Independent here says that they released the documents an hour ago. What he's talking about is the last thing that we were going to talk about. Judge Chutkan has ruled against Donald Trump on his last motion. And they are going to release some more evidence. This should be pretty good, folks. This is what we're going to talk about on Sunday's show. Had taken some time to go through it, see what's in it. But my instincts are telling me there's some pretty damning stuff in there. because what the Trump team has already come out and said, and what they filed in their motion, is they're saying that Jack Smith cherry picked evidence to try to make it look as bad as possible. So yeah, they're kind of confessing to you that this is bad. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's see what comes out. Let's see what's in it. Let's go through and let the legal eagles tear it apart and come with what they've been hiding us. Because, you know, folks, we think we know everything, but we don't. We really don't. We only get the tip of the iceberg in these stories, and seeing the actual filings with the actual evidence, it really illuminates that there's a lot more there than what we knew. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it. And that's what we're going to talk about on Sunday. Teresa Pierce says, "Go Jack Smith." Amen. Amen. I am with you. I am with you. That is what I have for you today, folks. We've got a few minutes left. If you'd like to do a roundtable, if there's something else y'all would like to talk about, feel free to throw it out there and we'll discuss it. But, and yes, I'll start off with this. Legal AF, if you're not familiar with what they're talking about here, Legal AF is a show put out by the Midas Touch Network. It is fantastic. It's got Karen Agnifilo, Michael Popak, and Ben Meiselas joins them. The Meiselas brothers, of course, being the founders and the folks that run the Midas Touch Network. They do amazing work, folks. If you're looking for independent media you can trust, the Midas Touch Network is it. And Legal AF, they do a really, really good job of digging into very, very complex and eye-glazing over legal issues, distilling it down to the important points and talking to people and telling people, telling people, look, this is what's important about this. Here it is in the filing. This is what it says in the filing. This is legally what that means. And this is legally how it normally plays. It's a great show. It's a great show. Matthew Preble says, love the show, pedal to the metal. Amen. I do too. I do too. There are a lot of really good shows out there, folks. If you want some independent media, there really are a lot of good shows out there. I'm not arrogant. I'm not going to say, like Rush Limbaugh, you can only come to me forever. No, there's a lot of really, really great shows out there that cut things at different angles. Sometimes they disagree with my take on things. I mean, it's just, we're very blessed on our side. I will tell you, I'm a little salty about one thing, though. And it's something that after the election, I'm going to have a talk with some of the people I know within the Democratic Party. And you folks do an amazing job. Y'all put this show on the air. This is it. What you see happening here and the revenues from selling the mugs, that's it. That's what keeps the show on the air. That's me. That's me. There is no sugar daddy behind me writing the checks. There aren't. There are a couple of people in the audience that are well-heeled that do some extra support behind the scenes. But again, it's the audience. They're part of the audience supporting the show. There are other creators out there. There are other people that put content out that, again, Midas Touch, solely supported by the audience. There is no billionaire supporter. There is no Mark Cuban writing the checks. There just aren't. And the Democratic Party isn't either. And that's what I'm getting to. Like my good friend Majid Padelin. I'm going to have him on the show here pretty soon to plug his book. He's got a book out. That's how he supports his show. He's an author. He writes books. He's got a new book out. It's cute as hell. I'm gonna bring him on and we'll talk about it then. But yeah, we all support ourselves. And I'm looking at these people on the right, Benny Johnsons and Tim Pools and stuff like that. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, that dude has a studio. How the hell does he afford a studio? Our enemies are paying him in the high six figures. They're funded by our political enemies. And here we are on the left. We're doing it all ourselves. You people, you're it. You're it. Thanks for the support, Jason. I appreciate you. And this isn't a like, I'm sorry. This isn't like a, hey, I need, a fundraiser, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the Democratic Party has to catch up. It does. It needs to get with its donors, and they need to pick some people with talent, and they need to support it. They do. They really do. We're behind the ball on this. And this is part of the roundtable. I want to know what you think about this. How would y'all feel if a couple of the billionaires that fund the Democratic Party were cutting checks to people so that they could afford the infrastructure, they could afford the studio, so that they could compete? Because I tell you, I kind of feel like I'm swinging in the wind out here. I mean, you people don't get me wrong. You people do an amazing job supporting this show. You really do. I am not complaining about that. You people are incredibly generous. It touches my heart how much y'all support this show. Sharon Reddy here, for example, donated to Colin Allred again. Way to go, Sharon. Way to go. Haley, did you hear Justin Trudeau saying Tucker Carlson and Jordan Peterson are also being funded by Russia? Yeah, that's kind of what set this off. To be quite honest with you, what she's talking about and where I was going, I love that y'all are always ahead of it. Y'all are always ahead of it. But yeah, that actually came out. Justin Trudeau, in a hearing under oath, shared a bit of intelligence saying that, yeah, Russia is funding Tucker Carlson and others. I like the independence of independent media, but it'd be really freaking nice if, like, the Midas Touch Network, just one example, or my friend Majid, or Stone Kettle, Jim Wright over at Stone Kettle, or any of these left-wing creators that are doing an amazing job. Yeah, the perfect example, Jim Wright over. Do y'all listen to Stone Kettle Radio? Or do y'all follow him online? If you're not following Stone Kettle, let me pull him up for you so you can see who I'm talking about. Amazing guy. Fantastic experience. Worldly experience. Just an amazing guy. Puts out great stuff. He supports his show and his work by selling pictures and artwork. This is Stone Kettle. His name's Jim Wright. He's an author. He does a radio program. Terrific follow. You can see I'm following him. A terrific follow. He is one of those conservative Democrats, long military career. He digests things that are going on and then does his show from his point of view. But yeah, the way he funded his show was he made pins in his garage, custom pins on a lathe. You can buy kits to do that as part of what a lot of people do it to sell at craft shows and stuff like that. He's fantastic. He is fantastic. But here he is. He doesn't have the infrastructure. Our enemy does. They know the value of it. So I'm asking you this question. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? I sell mugs. At the Texas Paul store. Somebody just asked the question, how are you? That's how I fund this. Y'all's donations here, and I sell mugs. That's it. That's all of it. But we're competing against guys that came up the same way we did, but they're getting severely boosted because they're getting funded. So they have studios, they have the infrastructure, they have top tier infrastructure. They don't ever pixelate on screen because they've got private T1 connections because they're funded by Russia. And I just feel like we're behind the 8 ball on this. What do you think? I agree. Metal markers, it should be exposed. Who's funding who? But yeah, that's the latest one that just came out. It was Justin Trudeau just said under oath that, listing off people that were being funded by Russia. And of course, they repeat Putin's talking points verbatim. They don't serve the American people. They serve Russia. This right here, that's a big one. That is a huge one. Most of these people don't have the follower count that they brag about. A lot of them are bots because they also have support from Russia doing that. And I don't agree with that. Who the hell needs fake made up AI people saying, "Oh, you're great"? Just fake, but it elevates them on the social media platform. But they also have the funding when they put something out. Like, I could go to Google and I could pay Google to get this out. I could. But I don't. We're building our audience organically. But they do. The message we're fighting against, they absolutely do. And it massively boosts their reach. Massively. Thanks for the support. I appreciate you. I don't know. I go back and forth about it, to be honest with you. The independence is great. I don't owe anybody anything. You like what I do, you support the show. You don't like what I do, you don't support the show, you don't show up. To me, that's old school capitalism. Earn it. I like that. And it gives me a lot of independence to do what the hell I want to do. I don't have anybody, because with those checks come program notes. Hey, you mind talking about this on your show? What the hell are you going to say? The guy just wrote you $100,000 check. You can say, no, I'm not going to talk about that. So yeah, you lose the independence. That is the real downside of it. But it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like we're behind the 8 ball on this one. That's my 2 cents. Talking about the news that, and this right here. Exactly. You got Piers Morgan, who's obviously paid by Russia. He's going to interview Tim Pool, who's obviously paid by Russia, and it's going to go out on the networks. And then when the clips of that show come out on social media, they're going to pay to elevate those clips. They're going to pay old Leon plenty of cash to elevate those on social media. So a message that is really just, and here's where it's bad, folks, is that a message that really only resonates with a very small fraction of our society comes off as though it's a movement. It comes off like there's a lot of people behind it. And bandwagon effect is real. If it wasn't real, ad agencies wouldn't use it. Hey, my pleasure, Ren. Thank you for the support. Thank you. Jordan Peterson. Isn't it strange that when Jordan Peterson was hooked on pills, he went to rehab in Russia? Yeah. Isn't that kind of weird? Isn't that kind of weird? Aren't there world-class rehabs? Yeah, there are. There are. I hear you, brother. I hear you. And we're doing it, man. We're successful as hell. We are. The support y'all give me, I am not bitching. I am not bitching. We're this close, folks. We're this close. We're at a level. I told you, I'm tight as hell. I squirrel that money away. I only spend it on like battery backups, things like that. I only spend it on stuff like that. We're this close to being able to afford rent in town to set up a studio so we can get a solid cable connection to where we'll never pixelate again. We're this close. We're almost there. We're almost there. And we'll just hit the subscribe button so we can get this out to more people, get more people in. We'll get there. We're growing this show organically. And I appreciate you. I really do. There you go. There you go. So y'all ready for your early voting? Yeah, that story came. Yeah. Justin Trudeau was under oath in a hearing from Canada, was talking about the intelligence they have on Jordan Peterson and Tucker Carlson were paid by Russia. All right. All right. Thank you for the support, Mr. McAndrews. Let's do this. What state, Lynn? What state did you vote in? Yes, that's huge. That is huge. Hitting that thumbs up button, hitting the subscribe button. The subscribe button's free, folks. I mean, all it does is put me on when you open up your YouTube page, you'll have your subscribe channels down there, and it just oh, hey, Paul just had a live. I missed it. There it is. That's all subscribing does. But it's huge in the algorithm. It boosts us in the algorithm like crazy when you hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and when you share the show. Absolutely. That you folks are the only people that really bring us in that audience. Google has done amazing work sharing our show we get about 10% every show of people that have never seen me before that'll get exposed to the show. Cameo says she's tired of anxiety and she's ready to breathe. I was outside. I was working outside yesterday. I was out mowing. And man, just the hum of the mower, no other noise, cutting grass, the smell of the grass. I'd let it get away, so it was taking a while. I'm behind on my mowing. I am. But yeah, just getting out there and doing it. And my mind shutting down and I hear you. I hear you. I think that's what's driving a lot of these early voting numbers is we Democrats were like, man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this election to be over. I mean, we're excited to get this vote on. But yeah, I hear you. I feel you. A lot of people are ready for the holidays. This is going to be a good holidays. It really is going to be a good holidays. And thank you again for the Kitty Town coffee. I really appreciate that. The pumpkin spice is one of my favorites. Thank you. I appreciate you. Jeff Schuler right here. First time commenter. Thank you for saying it. Vote early if possible. It will help the party spend resources in a more focused effort. Absolutely. Voting early not only helps you in freeing up your time, it helps the party. It does. It does. It helps them know where to focus those resources in the last few days. Hey, y'all do me a favor. I'll leave you with this, and then I've got to go. I'm getting the stink eye. I've got to go. Don't just tell us. Spend a little time on social media and tell them, hey, I voted. I voted by mail. I'm in whatever state you're in. You don't have to get too personal. Cameron, here's there you go. Voted already by mail in a swing state of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Share that. And then if you can, just a sentence of your biggest motivator. I voted early, and this is why. I voted early. I voted for Kamala Harris, and this is why. I've seen so many of those comments on social media, and I got to tell you, I'm a political guy. I am. I'm already in it. I'm in it to win it, baby. But just hearing that and seeing that just recharges my batteries. And it does for everybody else too. So yeah, I just want to leave you with that. Please take a few minutes on social media and do that. If you voted early, get out there, say, I voted in this state and this is why. Michael Thomas says, thanks, Texas Paul and Mrs. Texas Paul. Your efforts are immensely effective and appreciated. I am traveling to Ukraine 25th of December through January 12th to help the assessment and planning for cleaning up, etc. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you doing that, brother. Those people have been through hell, and they're going to need so much help after this is over. After they win, they're going to need so much help rebuilding that country is just devastated. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you. Keep us posted on what's going on there. Keep the community here aware. You know, sometimes it just scares me that Ukraine's slipping from the top of the news, and the bravery that those people have shown, standing up to a bully like Russia. I mean, God bless them. God bless them. They deserve all the help we can give. Well, look, I've got to call it quits. I've got to go. I've got places to get things to do and places to go. So enjoy some Texas cities at night.